My name is Melissa, and I'm from the University of Miami, Rosen Steele School of Marine and Atmospheric Science. Thanks for shooting up that U. All right, very cool. Aquaculture is the farming of fish and other creatures from the sea. Can anybody tell me what other creatures? Crabs, yeah, very good. Sea what? Sea hares? I'm not sure what that is, but you're fun. Alright, so there's a little bit of everything in aquaculture that gets farmed. We have crabs, lobsters, you got all different types of fish. Corals are farmed, seaweed is farmed, different types of seaweed. You got mussels, so there's different types of aquaculture. The first one I'm showing here is a closed system aquaculture. Can anyone guess why it's a closed system? Oh, you guys are? Go ahead, you. Yes, it's inside, and all the fish are contained in those blue tanks. So closed, it's more controlled. So when we're talking about food safety, a controlled system is going to help you regulate things a little better. Then, if you go to the next one, pond aquaculture, it's an open system. So a lot of things could get in. You have weather implications. Any other things you guys could think of with food safety that might be a hazard? Exactly, bacteria is a big problem, especially when you have, since you have other animals coming in, it's open, they introduce foreign bacteria, foreign objects. Another system we have is the coastal system, and that's usually offshore, like if you go to Miami Beach and you guys look out, well, coastal is basically that area. And there's a lot of other problems too. Could you guys think of problems with coastal? Yeah. Littering? Yes, littering. A big problem is sewage. Because a lot of these coastal areas, you're going to have drainage into the coastal area, and then these fish that are being grown for food. Go ahead, you can give me the other one too. Oil, yeah, actually oil. You can definitely get it. Ready? Environmental problems are also taken into consideration when we're talking about food safety. One of the problems that you have is since it's open and you're in a natural environment, there's other creatures around from the sea, other environmental implications. So let's talk about predators. You guys can see how a problem. Go ahead.
In the sea?
Yeah. Exactly. Sharks get into those nets, into those cages, and that becomes a hazard for the workers because they're going in there to maintain the fish that will one day be on your plate, and they find that there's a shark in the net. Never a good thing. So one of the things that they do to prevent that from happening is that they'll put safety mechanisms where the diver who's going to have to go in and clean the net is in ocean aquaculture, and this is deep in the ocean. The great thing about this is that very strong currents out in the ocean. So all the fish waste and all of that gets taken with the currents, plus you don't have the problem of the coastal sewage of anything like that contaminating the fish. Who here likes to eat fish? All right, who here likes to eat shrimp? All right, well, a big problem with seafood is that we're overfishing the seas. Huge problem. For instance, I don't know if you guys know the bluefin tuna, beautiful fish. Well, it's one of the most endangered fish. Cod is another one that has never been able to recover. Aquaculture is now making up, that's 2008 numbers, 50% of the fish we eat. That's a lot of fish. So the fish you think came from the Gulf or from somewhere out in the ocean, very good chance came actually from a farm where your little fish was taken care of from a very little baby all the way to full grown before it got to your plate. Issues that we have identified so far are these. But one thing we haven't talked about is processing plants. Processing plants is after your fish is grown, it gets sent somewhere to be cleaned, to get ready for the plate. So you guys think of any problems that could happen with processing plants? Over there. Yeah.
If somebody has not washed their hands and they touch the fish or one of the and they still wash it without that water.
You're exactly right. Biosafety is a huge concern in processing plants. So if you see pictures of processing plants, I don't think there's one up there, but when you see pictures of processing plants, you'll see people completely covered from head to toe where only their eyes sticking out. Another problem that people don't talk about too much is the animal safety. Even though we eat them, we do care about them, right? Okay, so what are some problems with animal safety that you guys can see in aquaculture? You. Yeah. Yeah, big animals, big fish, if you don't separate them by size, they start cannibalizing on the smaller fish. That is a problem. Yes.
The
Yeah.
animal can be sick and
Exactly. The animals could be sick, and that's something else you have to control for because you don't want to eat a sick fish. That can make you really sick. So yeah, the animal could get sick too. Another problem is how many fish do you have in one container? The fish get easily stressed out. So irresponsible farmers will stock as many as they can just to make a profit. But that's not good because you have a lot of fish swimming in their waste. If they're getting overfed, you have the food setting to the bottom, and this creates bacteria. And on top of that, very stressful situations for the fish who are cramped up. Another big problem is imported fish, because believe it or not, USA doesn't farm a lot of fish here. A lot of the fish come from China. They have antibiotics in them, chemicals that are not FDA approved. Big problem is a lot of those chemicals get us sick. And we don't want to get sick from eating fish, right? Because fish is tasty and we just want to enjoy it. So we have different inspecting bodies. There's FDA, which is responsible, the head person responsible for inspecting seafood. Certification bodies, for example, best aquaculture practices, the WWF, which is the World Wildlife Fund, they have their own aquaculture certification, the Global Aquaculture Alliance. So anytime that you see one of these certifications on your fish, regardless if the fish comes from China, from Thailand, here from the US, you can be assured that that fish is going to be in good condition. And these people, the BAP, they inspect from the hatchery all the way down to when the fish is in your fork. So they go from the hatchery to the farm to the processing plants, making sure that everything is inspected and everybody's doing things as they should be done. So this is the BAP's certification. Do you ever see that on fish? You know that your fish is good to go, that it's been inspected from the beginning to the end. And we got our information from seafoodfarms.com. They're local from here, and they actually go out. They have their people that go out and inspect the farms here, and they even travel outside internationally. So most of everything that's done is done, FDA uses this too, by the hazard analysis critical control points. Critical control points are the most important points where something could be introduced to the fish, or where the fish has, or seafood, because it doesn't have to be fish, where it's going to be vital that you pay extra attention. Could you guys think of some critical control points that when you're taking the fish from the farm through the processing plant that you have to keep an eye on?
You have to keep an eye on how well kept they are. Like if they're back in this, they could be spoiled.
Yeah, and to do that, they actually do sniff tests. They look at the gills. They take samples of the fish, check the DNA for antibiotics, for any other chemicals. They go through every step possible at all these points to make sure that there's nothing wrong with the fish. If there is a problem with the fish, you know where your fish came from, what batch it came from, what tank it grew up in. So the farmer and everybody who is involved in that can actually handle the situation from the get-go. So these are some other certification bodies. There's more. Traceability, which is what I was talking about now. What's important being able to trace your fish all the way back to where it came from? What happens if you get sick? Well, you need to know where those fish came from, right? So what they do is they trace back the fish to find out what went wrong. Was it in the processing plant? Did something get introduced? When they go to the processing plant, check out everything's okay. They keep going all the way back, tracing their steps all the way to the batch the fish came from to check those fish. And if there is a problem with that farm, then they'll go ahead and treat those fish. Those are the fish we have in our hatchery: the tuna, the cobia. We also have mahi-mahi. You guys probably eat mahi-mahi very often. It's one of the things on the item that everybody always sees. And Florida pompano and goggle-eye. In the future, there's going to be more U.S. fish. When it comes to how we grow them and how we do things here, FDA is all over it. So when you eat U.S. grown fish, you're pretty safe as far as what you're putting in. My professor, he's the program director at RSMAS at Rosenstiel. He's like the Justin Bieber of aquaculture. He's just
counterpart of agriculture. So it's what we do in the ocean, at sea, or in the water, what agriculture does in land. We developed the technology, and today I think we're recognized as one of the foremost
those are the fish
technologies in the world.
That's the hatchery.
And now we're trying to apply the technology to new environmental or ecologically efficient feeds to feed tuna, which are the two main goals of our program: to close the cycle in the hatchery and to develop sustainable feeds. Everything we do has to be ecologically efficient and environmentally sustainable, as well as economically viable, because in the end of the day, the one that we live, if it is not economically viable, it's not going to last for long periods of time. It has to go hand in hand, economical viability and environmental sustainability. And that is what we do.
Those are the baby fish. Thank you so much.